My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Nunas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Natalia.
And I'm Sky.
And we're back. It's a fresh new year. We've returned. We took a little break because it was the holidays, and I think every single one of us was sick. Was that? Yeah, that's correct. We were just a bunch of plague bears. So we were like, you know what? We deserve a week off. But we're back now. So sorry if you were like really looking forward to our hot takes on
I know everyone was on pins and needles about our next music episode. They were
so
they really were.
They like, the tweets didn't stop. No, I'm kidding. We're glad that you've tuned in and for another year of shenanigans and good times and all things Asian entertainment. So, though it is now 2020 and no longer 2019, we are still going to do what we had planned to do at the end of 2019, which is go over our 2019 musical review, where we discuss what we liked about music, all the comeback apocalypse that happened all over the fall, all the stuff that went down music-wise that we enjoyed this year. We like to keep it positive and fun. So, now that my brain has rearranged itself, so what's everyone been listening to over the holiday break?
I don't know. I let Spotify do its own thing a lot this past month. Like, I would sort of, click on an album or something, and you know how it does. You get to the playlist or the end of the album, and it just starts playing other songs, and so I just let it go. The one night I just let it go, and I thought, I'll just, I was trying to fall asleep, and then I had to, stop it because it was, it kept... there would be a great song, and I'd be like, ooh, I need to pick up my phone and check who that is, and then start to fall asleep again, and then be like, oh, who's that? What's that voice? So I, a bunch of different stuff, Ash Island, and somebody named Shuggy, not Suga, not to be confused with Suga, but Shuggy, and he's got a great voice, really, really nice. I love it. Zesty, rapper,
ranch, zesty,
zesty ranch. The album is called My Mom's Car or something.
And he's missing an opportunity there to just call it ranch, and then it'd be zesty ranch.
Yeah. So they were good. A girl named, I'm not sure if it's Biya or if it's Bia or how she pronounces it, but really good. O Sebum, and this one song, I was I heard this song called Candle. Love it. It's a collaboration between XBF and Blue, spelled Bloo. And I was like, well, I love this song, so I need to look up everything these two have ever done individually. This is very much an indication, it's one of those times when, the sum of the parts is much, much greater than the parts, because, individually, not a single song that I was that I liked. Their sounds were completely different from this collab song, and I was where did this come from? Who's the producer? Because clearly it's their vision, not yours. It was really weird. But the song Candle, very, very good. There was releases from PLT, Planetarium Records. Jung Jin-woo had an album, and that new girl that they signed, Lindsay, she put out, I don't know if you call it a mini album or a giant single. There was 4 songs on it, but really good. She's very bluesy, got kind of a deeper voice, a really nice sound. And then PH1, of course, had 5 million collaborations come out in the last month, or 3, I don't know. I might be exaggerating, but one of them was today, well, the day we're recording, obviously, called Nerdy Love. It's super cute. And then he also had one with Bumkey and Giselle, a girl named Giselle. So they're all great songs. I love it when he does collaborations. I like it when he sings, when he does his own thing too, but I really enjoyed that. And, I started listening to Wang Yibo. From
yes, from the Untamed.
He's really good.
from The Untamed.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, there's only like maybe 3 songs on Spotify, and the newest one's not even on Spotify yet. But I like his voice. I like listening to him sing.
He's handsome too. He's a good looking fella.
He's an attractive child.
Yeah, very.
I'm going with he's a young
very
boy.
young. He's very young. He's younger than he looks, and
But
It's
but
very weird.
he is an idol, right? Like
Yeah.
because he
he
dances
is.
and yeah.
Yeah.
But like by himself, he's not in a group, is he?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm not
I was
sure.
curious because I didn't go. I'm not totally
I-
invested in him yet.
Yeah.
It's just I've seen video work of his stuff, and so I was just curious since it would usually look like him by himself.
Yeah. I think he is. I think he's just does solo work. I don't know.
he
if
is
he's, like-
actually in a band.
He was in a
He is
group.
he is in a group. Called Unique.
Oh, yes.
UNIQ.
Right.
Mhm.
I did remember seeing that.
He was born in 1997.
Goodness
Basically anything after 95, and I'm like,
You're like,
Shut
yeah,
it
your children
down.
forever.
Turn it off.
Shut it down.
like and also on the like Mando Pop, there was a group that debuted last year, and they had another album come out beginning of December, I think, called the group is called Next, and I really dig them. I really like their sound. It's kind of, to me, I would say it's kind of like wavy meets 80s, maybe, is kind of their sound. So
I like
it.
what you're putting down. I need to go check
I was
it
like,
out.
oh,
There's nothing
really?
bad in that sentence, right?
Right.
Like,
You're saying a lot of words that we like.
so
Did they happen to go to a Korean awards show recently? Do you happen to know?
they might have.
Is
I
it
don't
the
know.
Right.
I'm
There
trying
was a Chinese group that went, and of course I'm not going to be able to remember which award show because I've watched way too many. But the first one that happened, I think it might have been MMA. There was Wavy, and then there was another Chinese group that I hadn't heard of before, but when they performed, they felt a lot like ATEEZ and Wavy. So it makes me wonder. And then they performed on the red carpet, and then they also performed within the show. So
See, I feel like that's something that, like, American award shows should incorporate, this performing on the red carpet thing.
yeah.
well, I
It
didn't.
makes the red carpet a lot more interesting.
It was really interesting. Only two groups did it. It was weird as far as like how they figured out who. Anyway, I didn't really understand why, but I accepted it and just moved on.
It was there.
Yeah.
You were watching
It
it.
happened. It was a thing.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of. Oh, Saran had a song with Leela Mars, and that was really good. And then the song that I've been like the most replayed over the last month has been Sam Kim. I think Sam Kim, called "Where's My Money," and it's like, I like to be rich, I like to be famous. Where's my money? Where's my car? And I'm like, I just love it. It's so good, and it's weird because most stuff that I've looked up of him is like ballads and OSTs and stuff, and then there's this like rap like, give me my stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, but I really like the song. And then just finally a special shout out to Simon Dominic with
Oh,
I think
Simon
it's
Dominic.
Yoda. They put out a song called Amanda, and I have no idea what they're singing about, but they keep saying my name over and over again, and Simon Dominic's really pretty, so like, I'm okay with that. So, how about you, Jessie?
CL came out with her full album and lots of stuff, and it's
Queen.
perfect and wonderful and great. I love it
She's
so much.
free.
Yes, she's free and she's doing everything.
And she's like, yeah, I'll go collab with Beyonce because I
Sure.
can.
Yeah.
You're like,
Right.
Okay, I see what you're doing.
Like, it's so obvious, like, all the shit that she's doing, that it's like she was actively being repressed from doing it.
Yeah, and she's
Like,
also like, huh, look what you could be getting money from, but you're not anymore, so...
She's basically the gif of Homer Simpson, like, giving the middle finger.
Every time I hear that lyric in Done where she's like, if you still have my number in your phone, delete it or whatever, and I'm like, that's straight to YG, like the whole, that's
totally.
Just get rid.
I also just like generally like I like the style of music she's putting out too. It's a little bit different than she used to do. I mean, like I liked all of her stuff, but I'm just really digging this style, and so I'm kind of hoping it kind of stays at least in future things. It kind of stays in this direction. I mean, she can go wherever she wants, but like at least have some music in this kind of style. So I've been really liking that. Let's see. There were a lot of things that happened. Red Velvet Psycho is
so good.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's like, this is amazing, and it literally straight, like what came out like one of the last days of the year, and I was like straight to my top 25. Like everybody else had been in that like list for like a year, and then I was like, no.
No.
And such a pretty music video. So pretty.
Yeah. Every
videos are always so pretty. And
costumes, oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I'm like more of a fan of that side of
the
them.
Velvet side.
Velvet side.
Yeah, I think I prefer Velvet.
It was just, it came out and I was like, this is magical and perfect and wonderful, and it's been on repeat a lot. Another thing that's been on.
I want to say something super fast. And this might just be a rumor, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I saw that they might be coming out with an English version of Psycho to go along with the Birds of Prey movie.
Yeah, that's what I heard, and it's possible because as soon as they did Bad Boy, they did an English release of it, and I feel like it might be SM kind of trying to make Red Velvet the girl group that they introduce into the Western like music, like they're doing with the Super M stuff. Like I think they're do that. So to me, it'd be cool if it's just what it is. Like you don't need. Right. But like I see where they're going. I see direction.
You see what's on the horizon.
Yeah. So I think it's gonna be really cool. But the one group that I have been listening to nonstop, is a group that I had known about for a while because on another podcast, one of the girls is really into them, but I've just never listened to them. And then I was listening to Spotify's, how they do that like weekly list, like recommendations list. Mm-hmm. And so I was listening to that, and the song came up, and I was like, oh, this is really good. And so I just like immediately kind of clicked over to their page, and I was like, oh, I know who this is. Clicked shuffle. An hour later, I'm at work, and I'm like, oh no. And I heard their entire discography the rest of my workday and into the night. Like I was straight on, and I never clicked like skip on any of them. And that is the K-band. Nell. I'm addicted to them now. Addicted. I love them so much. Like I can just listen to them all the time. They're fantastic.
So pretty.
Yeah, it's they're like technically indie, but not really indie. Like I would say that they're probably one of the most popular K bands, but they're still considered indie. They're not Idol by any means, any stretch of the imagination. They have done stuff like, now looking back on it, I've listened to some of their stuff because they were on Woolham with when Epic High was on, so they did collabs with them. They actually just came out with a album during the October apocalypse, so I wasn't paying attention to it, like because like, and it's a like spectacular album. It's so good, and the music videos are so good. If you're into like just like bands in general, if you like kind of like Coldplay and that sort of thing, if you like Day6, if you like the Rose. I don't know much about the Rose besides their music. Like I don't follow the guys outside of it, but there's no way Nell is not their favorite band. Like there's no way.
They don't talk about Nell all that often, actually. They usually talk about a couple of Western bands because they've tried. it's always kind of been like European side. They've always tried to kind of lean more European style. So that's kind of been their thing. But I totally get what you're saying. I'm just saying.
I do know that Day 6 also likes them because I've been going back on V Lives of Day 6. And Wanpill does playlists a lot for his V Lives. And they're like insane. He'll spend an hour and a half just cycling through things. Wanpill has been like picking up groups that I'm like, oh, I really like that group. Some of my Japanese groups he really likes. I'm like, okay. And then I got into the section and it was when Nell had just came out and he's like, okay, I've got to share this video or this song with you because I really love them. We all really love them. And he played Nell. Most of the bands, I think, really look up to Nell, but they're spectacular. They're so good.
A lot of their music videos are like trippy and beautiful.
Yeah.
Like,
there's this one, and I can't remember the name of the song off the top of my head, but it has the girl from Search WWW on it. And it's this like really crazy thing where like she kind of wakes up in this room and she keeps on trying to find gas masks to breathe, a representation of her like relationship and stuff. And they're just so good. Nell has been like at the top of my list since then, and there's no turning back. I love Nell now. Now one of my favorites. So
now you desire a Nell light stick that does not exist.
Yeah. I'd be the one person in the crowd with a Nell light stick.
She's back in her workshop creating a Nell light stick.
I do it. Maybe that's my thing. I'm gonna like sell light sticks to like groups that would never have a light stick, not even idol groups.
Yes.
That's my Etsy store. Don't take it, please.
You heard it here first. That's what she's going to do. Create light sticks for groups that can never have light sticks.
You're like, yay, no. And they're like, what are you doing?
We didn't need that.
I just love you so much. You don't understand. And I have all these skills and no outlet for my love for you. So this is what happens.
Yakun came out with his little mini album, which is great. It has a lot of stuff that's like good for winter time. The Oral Cigarettes, which is a J-rock group I really like, they came out with a song. Yeah, Nell was my winner for December of my listens. It just got me. Spotify is trying to take over YouTube's spot and like suggesting me. I was like, wow. I think like finally, because I did this thing where I finally just decided to follow all the groups that I like, Spotify was okay. I see how weird you are. I get it. And then once I put it all of my Japanese music, they're like, oh, okay, try now. You know, it worked.
Oh, I see what you're into. Okay. Okay, so I have this last wedding that I was supposed to finish today, but I didn't. But is that anything new? So I just sort of put stuff on and just sort of leave it, but so it cycles through like all sorts of mess. But there is this one like pretty underground like rookie group that recently had a comeback that I've been really into. I'm kidding, it's fucking ATEEZ. ATEEZ had a comeback.
I thought you were going to talk about EXO, which would make it even funnier.
I had you in the first half. No, ATEEZ had a sick comeback.
Oh my gosh, that music video.
Sick.
So good.
Wow.
Oh, so
Shit,
good.
like everything they do, I'm just like, yes, my little babies, give it to me. I love it. Like, just, it's so good. Anyway, I won't go too much into them, but I love them. The song is amazing. Yeah, other than that, I've been listening to a lot of Day 6, because of course I was listening to a lot of Day 6, because I always I've been listening to a lot of Car the Garden, because of course, because I always listen to a lot of Car the Garden. I've been listening to a lot of Sunmi, because of course I always listen to a lot of Sunmi. I've been listening to Twice, because of course I always listen. Also, because like, okay, little movement. Dispatch, they tried this year. Oh, they tried. They tried, but they ultimately failed because, I'm sorry, you can't shame Kim Hee-chul for anything. Like,
no.
Like, you can try, but that boy is like water on a seal's back. It's just gonna roll right. He's like, listen, well, I guess y'all know I'm not gay. Like, I'm sorry to all the men out there. I do like women. My apologies. But I've been having, like, the time of my life, because I think it's great. He's, he has a girlfriend that's wonderful. If anyone is somehow under a box listening to this podcast doesn't know, he's dating one of the members of Twice, and people were having like a big uproar because he's older than her, but like he's not really like that much old. He's like what, 12 years, is it? Like, my parents were 30 years.
I don't know.
My parents were 30 years between them, and no one ever pulled any, like,
You know what?
oh, he must have
If
been
they both
grooming
consent
her.
to their relationship, then cool.
Yeah.
Like, if one of them,
I mean,
it doesn't matter who, doesn't want to be in it, then it's an issue. But right now, that's not the issue.
Yeah,
so,
that's not the case. And then
If
people
we're
were like,
talking
he met her when
adults,
she was a
we're
child.
talking adults.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, he met her when she was 20. I feel like...
When she was
What?
an adult.
One of
Child.
the things I read said he met her when she was 16, but they didn't start dating then. Like,
No.
it's like,
Like,
even if he did,
he-
like, you can
He's
meet
met
people.
most of
and,
the
like,
people in Korean, like, entertainment,
Right,
like,
yeah,
at the
Met
early-
everybody.
Like,
It's
forever.
yeah,
true.
not everybody. It doesn't mean he's dating all of them. It doesn't make him
No,
look
but
like,
I love
you
like
know,
all these
come on,
people who are trying to turn like Heechul into a creep somehow, and I'm like, nice try, like good effort, but he ain't gonna get it. It ain't gonna work. He's
like-
not a creep.
He's the sweetest person ever. Sorry.
Like,
well, like before the dating news even came out, there was people who were going off. It, like, for some reason, it came up and like it was on my timeline, like people going off about him being sexist and a misogynist, and I was like,
That's
it's
not,
not like you.
you're
that
like,
is
wait,
probably not
is there,
him.
is there another Heechul that
I
we're
know,
not aware
That was
of?
almost exactly what I asked. I was like, Heechul, right? Like,
Like Kim Heechul. Kim.
Is
And they were
Super
like-
Junior doing evil clone concept too? It's that.
I'm like, he's not even near the top of like the most problematic members of
No.
Super Junior or all of K-pop. There's nothing like.
No, this is a guy who literally, he, like, never, like, wanted to, like, ever be mean about, like, people saying that, like, maybe he is gay because
never
he didn't want to
denied-
hurt his fans who were. Like,
Yeah.
that's the type of person he is. He was like, I'm not going to do that because what if this person who likes me is gay? I'm not going to say that they're bad because of that. Like,
Yeah, so he never denied
that's
being
the type
gay
of person he is.
because he was like, there's nothing wrong with being
Yeah.
gay. So I don't care if people think I'm gay, even if I'm not. Sky, what have you been listening to?
Well, I've been listening to ATs.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Oh, what kind?
The people who haven't maybe listened past just Answer, so Answer's the one that you probably have heard. Horizon, there's like really cool yodeling in it, so that's neat. So we're all still waiting on a light stick because it's supposed to happen in January.
On it
We'll
so
see that
bad. I
happen.
don't even care if it's ugly. I just want it.
Come
I'd
on.
rather not be ugly.
Yes, I would.
There's
I
no way
like,
it's going to be ugly. Come
their
on. Their concept?
Their
No.
design concepts are usually really aesthetically pleasing, so it's very unlikely that it will be ugly. But I'm just saying, I love them enough that even if
Except
it was
concert merch is like, Oh,
concert
All
also-
concert merch.
sucks.
they're also in Hot Topic now, and it's like, Hot Topic.
As good as all the other K-pop groups that are in Hot Topic that look like shit.
It is shiny though, so.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna call out Hot Topic. I'm calling you out. I can make a better shirt in 20 minutes and have made a better shirt in 20 minutes for K-pop. Hire me, Hot Topic. You need me.
There have been times that I've gone and like been willing to buy a shirt, like in the past before I knew they were all really bad. When I was like, oh, what K-pop? So I would go through. I was like, oh, they have like 4 different Big Bang shirts. Like, sure. And then I would look at the way they really looked. I was like, nope.
Wait, these are real ugly.
Right.
I remember that
Super
Monster
pretty.
X one where it's like they hadn't even like refined the edges on the hair
Yeah.
around the cutout, and I was like,
Oh, yeah.
this
Or
is
they do the thing where it's literally just the album cover. They don't even do anything. Like, it's
I'm like,
literally
that's
just
lazy.
that.
this is so lazy.
Or that,
Or just
the
the
Blackpink one
name.
that just says Blackpink,
Yep. Yeah.
but it doesn't even say it in pink. It's like Blackpink in white on a black shirt. You're like, pink. Pink was the minimum, guys.
Like, guys,
in the
it's in the name.
title. Like,
It's in the name, you fools. No, like, literally, I don't know how I haven't been scouted by these, because their stuff is so ugly, and I don't want to talk myself up, because I know there are better artists than me out there. But my K-pop merch is pretty fucking solid, so
Yeah.
like it's shit. Like Hot Topic. Listen, let's not harp on Hot Topic too much.
So back to what I've been listening to. I've been listening to a lot of In Flying, of course, because that's just the way it goes.
Mhm.
And they added a 5th member. And
Yeah,
that's cute. He's adorable.
We wanted
Happy.
him so badly. We wanted him so badly. And we
Just
made
look
it happen.
Beautiful cheeks, and you just want to hug him. He's so cute. He's
And
so little. They're also little.
I'm deep enough in Twitter land that I actually know there are fans that are against him, weirdly
Of
enough. Not most international fans. For some reason, there's a lot of Chinese antis. I don't know why. It's like a thing for some reason. Whatever.
They're all fans
But-
of the other guy.
Whatever, because it doesn't actually matter what we
No.
think. They wanted him, they got him. That's the
Yeah.
whole
He
situation.
was in the company. His other group was disbanded.
Disbanded.
They needed a bass player. He was a bass player. He also was already touring with them because they were using him for,
Like
the
a session
supplement.
musician.
yeah. So he already knew all the stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure that the people who are against this understand that bands actually need bass players. Like, it's not that you can just not have a bass player.
Right.
No.
You usually need
You need a
one.
baseline, just, baseline means like the minimum that you need. So they need a bass for the baseline.
They're also a band. Like,
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
like they're just, like, making it up. Like, they're not
Right.
just, like, faking it when they're, like, doing
Yeah,
all
they're
this
not
stuff.
lip
Actually
syncing. They
playing
actually are playing
those
music. Yeah.
instruments.
Like, in order to, be a band, gotta have a bass player. It's the way it works. So, but yeah, I think it's great. It's lovely.
I love
I'm
it.
excited. They will be having a comeback sometime. They haven't said the exact date.
Two
but,
idiots
like,
had a comeback.
Two idiots had a comeback. That's mostly what I've been listening to. And then I was trying to figure out my 2019 lists, and so I was trying to go back and listen to a lot of stuff and figure out what was at the very top. Side note for Newswise, I'm really bummed that X1 got disbanded.
Yeah,
Like,
that was shitty.
Yeah.
there's a lot of, I guess, agency politics behind a lot of that. Here's the really sad part, though, in my opinion, or unfortunate timing part. The night before the news of the disbanding broke, there was a Victon concert. Okay, so the leader of X1, Sungwoo, used to be the leader. He is the leader of Victon, but right now he's not with Victon because he's the leader of X1. Blah, blah, blah.
So he'll be
So,
going back to Victon now.
well, so at the Victon concert, usually, of course, Sungwoo would not be there. But at this Victon concert, he was actually backstage and he sang a part of a song that night, which was really cool and everyone was happy.
Like, he came out on stage and sang it, or was he backstage?
He was
singing it?
backstage, but like he did
Okay.
sing it live. Like,
Okay.
and it usually wasn't his line, or like it wasn't expected. Let's put it that way. And there's a lot of tears and all this stuff. So everyone was happy to not see him, but have him involved, which you kind of wonder if he was supposed to be there or not. At this point, you wonder if he was actually there for support during the disbanding stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, mean X1 fans now are like, oh, he went. They're saying that he caused them to disband, like, because he went hanging out with his other friends, yada yada.
Literally,
That's
the
not how
groups
that works.
100% already, like, documented that it was the companies.
Yeah.
And so they were trying to say that Play-M is Victon's company, and they were like, blah blah blah. Play-M probably pushed. Play-M is one of them that was like trying to support X1, so that's a bunch of baloney. So just wanted to say that out loud. I'm bummed about X1. I feel really sorry for the kids that don't have home groups to return to.
Yeah.
That's mainly why I'm bummed. I feel really bad for those kids.
Yeah,
I think
they're
it's
not the
really
ones who did
strange that iZone is probably going to be fine and X1 isn't. To me, that doesn't make any sense. But
It's because IZ*ONE is really big in Japan right now,
oh,
and they just never got to do anything. Like, so IZ*ONE actually got to do stuff and then got really big in Japan. So I think even at their very, like, minimum, they're gonna make all their money in Japan.
Yeah.
True. So even if they just avoided all the Korean stuff with the scandal,
like just pushed for that.
That makes sense. So, bummer about X1. I'm sad. I am happy that he can go back to Victon and all that, but
Yeah.
I really wanted those kids to be able to be successful because it was going to be a contract for 5 years, especially for those kids that didn't have anything else going for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were already successful. They even already had a first win. I mean, they had, in 2019, they were doing well until all this stuff happened.
And it wasn't their fault. None of it was their fault.
Nothing was the kids' fault at all. So.
And some of them like weren't even told ahead of time and they only saw it on the news. I mean, it was bad. Like it was really bad. So, and I think one member that's like 17, he's having a really bad go of it. So, I mean, it's support your kids.
Yeah.
Give them nice words. So.
Well, hopefully some of them who don't have a group to go back to, maybe they can do something like the members of 101 did, where they formed a new group with.
Right.
Yeah, or like
so
a company will pick those people up, hopefully.
Yeah. It was like they worked so hard.
Yeah, I mean. Oh, I'm gonna also do one more controversial thing.
Please do. And
I'm not going to be able to say the word right.
That's what we're known for. Controversial over here.
Especially me. Like, of all of us, I like never say this.
You like your controversy. You live for it.
I won't be able to say the word right because it's Korean. But the word that means chart manipulation, whatever that word is.
South or whatever it is. Yeah.
So, okay, I'm going to back way up. Park Kyung from Block B.
Mm-hmm.
He started this discussion, and actually props to him. He got a lot of flack and really bad stuff and like lawsuit stuff, and I won't go into all that. But really smart guy. So from square one, I kind of wondered if it was like legit when he mentioned it, because it's him, because he's really smart. And why put your career at risk? Like that would be really silly to just put your career at risk. But so anyway. I won't go into the whole timeline of it, but essentially, it actually happens, like chart manipulation, which we all kind of vaguely knew, right? Like that's not.
It happens everywhere.
Yeah, I'm not like people shocked that this is going on are just idiots who don't know anything, because like it's been going on since like music started playing on the radio. Like, are you kidding me?
Well, it's kind of like, to me, it's almost like at a bookstore like Barnes and Noble, the books that face forward to get more notoriety, to get more money. Like, it's just the way. Once you figure out marketing and stuff, it's like, yeah. So anyway, chart manipulation. So when that starts being accused, just like, chart manipulation is a real thing. I guess that broke, And so then people start throwing words everywhere about, like, they kind of look at the people who are successful in 2019 and start accusing them. So, like...
But it's not the people who... It's, like, not the groups that are doing it.
Right. But, like,
some of it is because some people will be given money to do stuff to divert sales. Yeah. So even if they're not supposed to be promoting or something, they'll do something. That's part of the reason why. It's a lot of soloists mostly, but like...
Yeah. So, like, for instance, one of the groups that was accused was, like, New Est, which, it's, like, really illogical, because New Est, one of the people in it was in 101, which is incredibly popular. So then once he got out of 101, he went back to his group, and then his group became more popular, which, like,
what happens?
Is super logical.
What a shock!
And so then,
like, come on now.
Luckily, yay for New Est getting, like, their first wins and all that stuff and becoming more popular and successful. And so then netizens are like, New Est, chart manipulation. It's like, are you kidding me? Do you not understand how popularity even works? Like,
it's like people who get all upset about, like, Super M, and they assume that Super M, lots of chart manipulation and stuff, and you're like, okay, but they're literally a group made up of
super group.
Other popular groups.
Yeah, they're a group made out of the most popular members
a lot of people
of their actual popular groups. Like, are you kidding me?
All those
like the top groups that are already like big
that are already
internationally.
Popular. Like, I love the ones that came up like when they sold so many records. They were like, it's only because people were buying tickets to the concert and it was bundled. I'm like, yeah, but people were still buying the tickets to the concert. Like, I don't.
It wasn't fake.
Those are like, they're still Like, I don't understand how
And
that's
it's like somehow it's
relevant.
okay, oh, I bought 7 copies of this album because I wanted one with each member, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay, but like people did the same thing with Super M, and that's not okay. Now it's manipulation, and you're like, it wasn't manipulation when your group was
Yeah.
doing it.
We're
like,
not naming names, but I think most people listening know who we're talking about
Anyway.
right now. Moving on.
So then people started coming after Infline, which like
Are you kidding me?
just because they promoted Rooftop and then all of a sudden it climbed the charts again. Well, it was kind of a fluke, but it was just because it got reintroduced it was through a discussion board. It was totally organic. Like
you
I don't like people
control-
using that
also,
word. It was
Like, the song was, like, the type of song that was really popular this year, too.
especially
Like,
within,
so,
within current
like,
culture. Like,
Winner
it
and
really-
Icon were both doing those types of songs,
Yeah.
too, at that point. So, like, it was obvious that
Right.
it was just
Everybody-
the time for that
it
type
fit
of
in.
song.
It fit in with
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
And so because it, lots of good chart stuff and whatever, all of a sudden Infline's accused of chart manipulation, which, like, Infline does not get a big budget from FNC.
They don't have enough money.
They have
Start
they have
manipulation.
legit one leather jacket between them that they share in their music
They
videos.
literally had to have their members be, like, YouTube stars to get any.
Right. So,
Oh my
Uh-huh.
God.
So the fans of Infline are kind of trying. Well, so a neat thing that came out of this, if you want to look at it a certain way. So the fans got really upset, of course, and which upset Sunghyub, and so he went to his SoundCloud and he made a new song, and he rapped and he pretty much lashed out at all of the haters, and he's like, "Don't mess with my fans," like. I mean, he just went off on them, like, I don't care. He's like, Rooftop made it this year and yada yada. It's like, yes. So haters, whatever. Chart manipulation is a real thing, and it does suck, and people shouldn't do it. I mean, it's really, really bad. But stop accusing innocent groups that just happened to get popular this year. Like,
Yeah.
that's really stupid. Especially,
Yeah,
like Infline, it's, even if you don't like them, it's just one of those, like, underdog stories that it's nice to
Yeah.
see people who tried for, like, 10 years finally getting
Yeah.
successful at something.
And also, you can track, like, there's a paper trail of how they became popular last year.
Also,
you can figure it out. It's not a mystery.
they probably would have just done it earlier if there was really going to be a thing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
why
yeah.
would they wait, like, and
Why-
they could constantly lose money having these kids, like, for, like, 2 or 3 years in the dorms, them, like, paying
Or-
for that dorm,
Yeah.
and not bringing in any money. Like,
Yeah, let's wait until right before Sunghyub goes into the military, and let's
Yeah.
get them super popular.
Yeah, like,
Well, that was like everybody, all my like my boys mutuals and my boys timeline. Like when CM Blue went into the military, everybody was like, "Now's Infline's moment. Now's Honey Street's moment." Like FNC's got to focus, right? Like if they don't have CM Blue, they might as well, like now's
Or
the
in the
moment.
budget.
And we
Yeah.
kept waiting for it, and we were like, "FNC, what are you doing? Like, guys, they're right there. They're sitting right there, and they're great. Like, just."
So if
Promote
there was
them,
chart
but,
manipulation, it
like,
would have happened then. It
Yeah.
would have been like, boom, chart manipulation.
Yeah.
That's what it would.
Exactly. Suddenly they would have been famous, and you'd be like, "Oh, okay, sure," but no, like,
yeah.
yeah,
So, whatever. I had to say both those two things because they are big things in my
Yeah,
little
please
K-pop
do.
world.
It's not really that little of a K-pop world anymore. K-pop's really having a moment. It had a few moments last year. Super
It
M being one of them.
continues
A lot of, as per usual, racist Americans being racist because they're Asian bands and we keep expecting better, yet somehow it just doesn't happen. But it's fine because we, as a group of non-Asian ladies who love Asian entertainment, can just, be like, y'all just a bunch of racists, and you can just be racist by yourself. Because we don't give a shit. So there was, a few more. There was some newspaper article and magazine articles that were racist. There was some, there's always something.
Mhm.
Like, but the one that recently got me that I think is hilarious is the Tao
Oh yeah.
scandal.
It's
not
a scandal?
It's not a scandal. Okay. So basically he was filming a variety show and there were some white ladies and then he asked like, "Oh, do you like know who I am?" Like cuz they were like looking at him and stuff. And they were like, "Aren't you a member of BTS?" Now, if you know Tao Zitting, he's Chinese. So there
He's
are no
super unique looking.
Yeah,
super
he's
unique.
very unique looking. There are no Chinese members of BTS. This is important to note. And also, he was once a member of EXO. He quit EXO and he moved back to China and he does very well. He's an actor and he does all sorts of stuff in China. So he got like a little annoyed, rightfully so, because they were pulling on an all Asian people look the same when he looks literally nothing like any member of BTS, and was like, "No, I was a member of EXO. Like at one point in time, we were very famous. Like I was very famous at one time." So anyway, people who are, I don't know what their problem is. They're like, "He was putting down BTS," and it's like,
No. He was putting down the fact that people seem to think only like a select
all
few
Asian
Koreans
celebrities
can
are
like
BTS.
sing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's just
Like,
ridiculous.
It's like, no. So, yeah, anyway, I don't know why it became a thing, because when you watch the video, you know the context of him being like, stupid white girls. Like, the context was stupid white girls, not stupid BTS.
But also,
He's personally
they don't know
offended at the
BTS then, too.
racism. Is what-
Yeah, but obviously they don't know who BTS is. Because if they did, they would know he is definitely not a member of BTS. Like, he doesn't look it. It's just like, he looks so different than, like, he's
like even if they were talking to like Luhan, sure, maybe he would look vaguely. I don't know.
Yeah, like he looks like, I would say he looks like a little like Jin, maybe just like, but not enough like maybe out of like the peripheral of your eye.
Yeah,
But
you
then
just
if
go
you
like this,
straight
and you're like,
angle,
yeah,
look at
sure.
them, you're like, oh no, you don't look anything alike.
But
But,
Tao,
like,
he's
come on.
just a unique looking guy. So it's like it's just funny that
Yeah.
no.
Like there's, you know, it was a
Also-
fun year of combating racism as a K-pop fan. You know how it is.
What you're saying, Jesse?
I was just also, it needs to actually be addressed. You can't just like, that's like actually something you're not, like, you can't just let it go because it signifies that it's an okay thing. So like,
Right.
it never can be an issue where you just kind of just like be like, oh, I don't want to embarrass them. You tell them that this is wrong, this is what you do, and like move on, because then like letting it go also means that you're not in like defending like him and his culture, expressing that you'd rather stay out of it because of discomfort, because you have the privilege to, than to help someone out and not embarrass them.
That's why you should always call these people out. Actually, I had like a I wouldn't call this racist. It was just very American, the story I'm about to tell. So I have a cousin and then a second cousin. So my second, I have multiple, but this is just concerns two of them. So one of my second cousin also really likes K-pop, which I didn't know until this summer. And I'm like, dude, me and Chris should hook up. Like, we should just, chat more about our shared common interest. But he's like 10 years younger than me, so like we've never really been, close. But my cousin, who's his uncle, was talking to me, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I hear you like this Korean music, like your I guess I call him my nephew, but he's not really my nephew, but he's basic. Yeah, cousin things are weird." So he's like, "Yeah, like like your nephew, like you like the same sort of stuff." And he's like, "I don't understand like why you guys listen to it, like if you can't understand anything in it." And I was like, "Well, let me tell you that no one has ever thought the reverse of the fact that, American artists are popular in Japan, and nobody thinks that's weird or thinks, why would a Japanese person listen to an American artist?" And I'm like, he's like, "But how do you know like what they're saying?" I'm like, 1, I know a little bit of Korean now, and 2, It's called the internet. You can just look up the translation of the lyrics to make sure you're not listening to hate speech. Like, it's really not. It's not that difficult, my dude. Go Google. Just use it.
Also, people mishear like English lyrics anyway, so really, can you hear?
Yeah.
You don't understand what the person's singing anyways. It doesn't matter if it's in English or not.
One of my favorite American groups, like, I always have to admit, I usually have no idea what the main guy is saying. I love the music, but I'm like, I have no clue what he's saying most of the time. Which is totally fine. And so that should extend to other things too. Just because he's American and I can't understand him doesn't mean I can't listen to someone else that I can't understand.
Listen, I
find it weird.
I don't speak German, but I like Rammstein. What do you want from me here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I never had a problem with that when I was growing up. Like, so, nah. This is like, I sort of want to bring in the energy to 2020 of, like, calling people out on their racist biases against. Because it's not even like a thing where it's like people like, oh, those K-pop stans. I'm like, no, this is actually like showing an underlying problem in Western society that people refuse to acknowledge. Yeah. It's just like the certain fans group we will not mention who are like, I'm only a this person fan. I'm not a K-pop fan. They're not K-pop. Like, they're trying to divorce them from their other identity, like their identity as like another, you know, I actually don't consider, like, we're all human, you know, like there's no sense, which is why I've always never had a problem. But then again, I also lived in Asia as a child, so that was kind of my norm. I was the odd person out. But when you're 5, you don't really notice that.
It's also you know I mean? A taught thing.
Yeah, so, and like, that's just that, and, you know, my family we adopted kids, married into, we're like very diverse hippie family, so when I see it, I have to say something, and I think that should be the energy that everyone brings into this year, that if you see something like this, say something, and be like,
be a better ally.
Yeah.
That, and I think it's also fine to try to not have that as a part of your maybe online experience and stuff. Yeah. Like, for instance, I don't follow a lot of the drama on Twitter. I very purposefully filter that out and don't deal with it because, so I try to make sure there aren't racists that I'm, you know, like I just don't, I don't play and I don't seek it out. And so we're not saying that you need to go seek out fights.
Yeah.
No, you don't. You don't have to.
No.
Now, but even in like normal daily life, like I went to the dentist today and I was able to play just a couple of K-pop songs, and it was nice because they were kind of perplexed that I was playing Korean music, but aside from that, they were like, okay, like they didn't really care. They just kind of moved on and whatever. It's like, that's the way it should roll. It's fine to not be familiar with Korean music, but like everyone should roll just fine. Like, oh, okay, nice beat, move on.
Not like act like it's a big deal.
It shouldn't be a big deal.
Or if you're like my mom, telling people I'm going to a Korean music festival when I'm going to see Monsta X. I was like, well, you're technically right, but you're also really wrong.
A lot more shirtless men.
That was more from a classist, like, educational standpoint than, you know, there was no racial component to that. It was more like, my mom's kind of embarrassed of me as a person, not so much like she doesn't love Korean culture. She's fine with Korean culture. She's just like, she's in love with a bunch of boy bands. I don't understand. She's in her 30s. Like, she didn't even like boy bands when she was a teen. What is happening? I'm like, you can't tell me what to do, Mom.
I'm grown.
I don't. But my mom actually also says funny stuff. She'll be like, I don't have to worry about you anymore. Like, you're married and you live out. We're done. Like, we're done. She's like, we're done. As soon as you got married, I was like, you're off my worry list. Like, yeah, it's fair. So yeah, bring some good energy into 2020. Good energy. Use music as a force for good, because music really can be a force for good. All the art.
I think that's what often perplexes me. To me, music is always like a force for unity among people, like it always has been. Like, even before I was into K-pop and stuff, to me, music, that's just the way it's been.
Yeah.
And so when it's used in when people try to use music to be divisive against people.
Like,
Yeah.
all I just think about is us at that Monsta X concert where everyone was singing as best they could phonetically.
We all tried.
We all tried our best. Like, the lyrics to all of these songs. And, like, you could tell that our babies on stage loved it. That there was, like, a real feeling of energy between like, there was a girl next to me crying, and I was just like, it's okay. Like, I didn't know her.
No.
But in the moment, there's, like, there's something, and it's the same thing with, like, like, people are like, I don't get why you like all these Asian shows. And I'm like, there's something about, like, watching shows from other cultures or, like, experiencing, like, the art of other cultures that really slams home the idea that there's not that much difference between people. There's, like, people think that there's a lot of differences between different cultures and stuff, but that's all, like, surface level stuff. It's like, people are like, oh, culture shock, like when you go to Japan, but it's not that Japanese people are inherently wanting of different things or so, like, alien from like Western people. It's just like the way society is structured is, but the people themselves, like, we all want the same things at the end of the day. Like, we want friendship and love and, like, so there's nothing but positivity to be gained by accessing cultures that are not your own. You can only learn, and learning things is good. And the more you learn about other cultures, the more open and less prejudiced you become, because you realize they're literally just like me.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how different they seem on the surface. Like, the deeper you get, the like, okay, we're, it's really not that hard. It's like,
well, that was like the thing with Parasite winning all those awards over the last week. A lot of people were like, oh, like, why do you think your movie resonates so much with American audiences? And he's like, because you're all greedy. Like, he's just like, he's like,
capitalism.
America is the heart of capitalism, and it's about capitalism, and
like, he's just savage. Like,
it's been so great.
It's been beautiful.
And better. Like, he's one of us. Like, when you read his interview answers for anything, just like, there was one where they were talking about how he had, like, when he was filming Snowpiercer, he got into, like, an argument with Harvey Weinstein, who didn't want to include, like, the fish scene because it, like, cut out from, like, the action. And he was like, no, we have to include the fish scene. It's an homage to my father, who was a fisherman. And then so they kept it in, and they're like, was your father a fisherman? He's like, my father ain't no fucking fisherman. See, because it's good. And Snowpiercer is, like, one of my favorite movies, but it is one of the hardest movies to watch I have ever experienced in my life. It's right up there with Whiplash. If you want to watch movies that cause you to have anxiety attacks, Whiplash, which is an American movie, and Snowpiercer, which is an American-Korean movie, like, they two combined. Like, I watched Whiplash on my birthday, and I had like a literal panic attack. I had to leave. I was like, no, I'm out. I can't. But yeah, so good movies, but stressful. But yeah, he's amazing. He makes me laugh. Like, he's just a cool dude. When they asked if he would ever film a Marvel movie, and his response was like, no, I don't like the skin tight outfits they wear.
Yeah.
Like, I think I like wearing boxier things, and I don't really like seeing skin tight things, so I don't think I'd want to film that. And you're like, that's not the answer. Like, that's not why you don't want to film it. That's just a hilarious reason. Here's a little resolution for people out there. Like, maybe you just come here because you love the K-pop, which is great. Why not try some J-pop this year? Or some C-pop? Or some M-pop? Maybe some Thai singers.
Or K-rock,
easy.
J-rock.
Yeah. Outside of idol groups.
Yeah,
like,
maybe try
indie stuff.
Maybe just pick up, just listen to Carden, man. Like, he's great. He's got some real chill vibes.
Now. Just go. Both of those. Just throw them in a list.
Yep.
I'm like, so easy now, too. It's just
shooter for Carden.
Crazy.
Yeah, like, hop open on YouTube, hop open on Spotify.
It was
even
harder
make
before, and now it's
Spotify
like
playlists for you guys. You guys can go check out our Spotify playlists at our Certified Nuna's Spotify, and we put all these songs that we're talking about in playlists. So, like, if you're like, I don't know where to start there, and you'll get quite a mishmash of all the things we love.
Oh, and if you do go there and you really enjoy what you listen to, you might think about maybe supporting this podcast. We do not have any corporate sponsors. We are fully self-funded, but we do have a Ko-fi where if you enjoy all this premium content that you're listening to, you can go to ko-fi.com/certified Nunas and sign up to be one of our patrons over on Ko-fi. You don't just do it for nothing. We put all the behind the scenes like cuts that happen and all the we tell a lot of side stories. Like we get really and by we I mean like me most of all. I think I'm the ringleader of Tangent City. I'm the mayor of Tangent City. We put all of that, like that all gets up. Jesse does a nice little edit of all that. We have snazzy pictures. We got all sorts of nonsense going over there. So if you if you don't have money, trust me, I don't have money. I get it. Maybe send this podcast to someone you think will enjoy it. Anyway, back to the topic at hand.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for anybody who's like weirded out by using Spotify, because I didn't use Spotify until 2019. So for some reason, I thought the only way I could fully support the artists that I was listening to their music and consume their music, especially Korean music specific. Like, for some reason, I was under the impression, because I used iTunes a lot at that time, I really thought I had to out and out buy any song that I wanted to listen to. Now, though that's lovely, it eats up your funds really fast when you're listening to a lot of music. So, for those of you who are maybe you have like Apple Music, and so then it's kind of Spotify-esque, and so then you already have access to a ton of stuff. But if you don't have a subscription service yet, Spotify, you can do it for free. It's friendly. Try it. It's pretty. If you've done Pandora in the past, like a lot of us have done before, it's kind of like that, but better. Like you get more
it's like,
tailored.
It's ad supported, so if you don't have a premium account, like there will be the occasional ad. And it'll like limit the amount of times you can skip or something. We are not sponsored by Spotify. We just all use it.
Spotify has made a huge difference for me this year in the fact that I can listen to a lot more music and I don't have to put as much money into it. Though I would love to have massive quantities of money to throw at every single artist that I ever listen to their music. I don't have that much money. So it does enable you to go listen to all of the soundtracks and all of the music that you don't know if you like yet, but you can go try it out. Yeah. Spotify is a very, very easy way to go do that. So, and sometimes if free Spotify is being funky, it's probably because you're using it on your phone. That's fine. But if you go on the desktop Spotify free, everything works totally fine. Like it doesn't do weird skips like it would on your phone. No. So I'm just trying to friendly tell everybody, if you don't use Spotify yet, it's fine. But like, if you feel like you keep needing to buy all this music, you maybe don't really have to try things out at least. Yeah, and definitely. Still support your artists and stuff, totally. But
I would say,
I get a lot of albums, but I have never popped that CD into a CD player of any of them. I have. Nope. They've never been even removed from the case. I
would, on the side of buying and downloading though, if there's something that you love, especially soundtracks like Korean OSTs, if there's something you really, really, really love, I would recommend go on iTunes or like Google Play Music or something and actually pay for that download, buy it, because I'm rewatching Chief Kim with some people right now. And they're like, man, I love that song. It's too bad it's not anywhere. And I'm like, what do you mean it's not anywhere? Well, I paid money for it like 2 years ago. So I still get to listen to it. It's still on my phone. And I'm like, well, here. And I've like linked it to like Play Music. And they're like, nope, it's just a gray square. And I'm like, well, when I click it, it's music.
I mean, if something's meaningful to you, it's totally worth
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
you have
throwing
the
a
fun
few
stuff.
buttons,
But, you
and,
know,
I
also,
spend so much
like,
less money
a
now.
lot of OSTs, they put out actual, like, physical albums with beautiful art and stuff.
Yeah.
So you
Oh,
can
yeah.
Sometimes
also
they have
get
photo
those.
cards too. Like
Yeah.
they're actually like legit. Also,
Wow.
like just Spotify's just easy in terms of the like amount of stuff that you can listen to and not have like a super commitment to. Like you can
Yeah.
try out like groups because you might not like everything that a group produces, which is okay. But
Yeah.
like maybe you like one thing from one, or like you don't like it at all, and then but you still gave it a chance and gave it
Yeah.
a listen.
And then when you
And,
have, like
their percentage
you know,
is not good, but they're still getting money from it
Yeah.
technically. So like it makes it easy, it makes it fun. Like you can just, it makes it so like diverse. Like some of my playlists that I have are just like outrageous. Like I'll go literally from like Miss Saigon to like My Chemical Romance to
Yeah, I have
like,
some wild
EXO.
playlists.
And I'm
somewhere.
like, this is my life and this is all I like, and I can do it on Spotify. And also like Spotify is really good at doing these like curated playlists for you.
Yeah.
Like they
So
do
they'll,
daily mixes sometimes, or like the like what I said earlier, how I found Nell was it curates like a playlist of things that you might like, and they're
Yeah.
like it ranges from whenever the like song has been put out. It's not new stuff. It's just discover all
Yeah.
these songs, and then they actually have another playlist that they give you with like some of the people that you follow if they've come out with new stuff.
Yeah.
So you can catch it and you can follow groups, and you can like sometimes it will like if you're playing something it ends, it will like continue on a playlist and it makes it for you. It'll show up like if you like this group, then you might like
You might
these
like that.
groups, and
Yeah,
it's
like,
just like really cool to get like into it. And
I like when
be
you
able
like go
kind
to
of,
a group
like,
that you when you
chop
go to a
and
group
dump.
that you like, it'll have on the bottom like when you scroll down it'll be like people who like this also like, and it'll be other groups, and then you can go through like a click wormhole finding
Or like
new groups.
when you do like a playlist, if you scroll down to the very bottom,
It'll give
have like the
suggestions.
ad suggestions, and you can kind of go through and you can listen to snippets of it, and then you can add it into that playlist if you
Yeah.
want to. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
It is.
Yeah, we like Spotify.
Also, yeah, we really like
Not
Spotify.
fun.
I know my husband, for some reason, he likes YouTube Music too. So if you're on the YouTube side of things, that's a kind of a newer thing too. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I legit just downloaded the app today because every time I open YouTube, it's like, you know that with your premium subscription, you also get YouTube Music. I'm like, fine, because I want to listen to Taemin's Japanese stuff, and like Spotify ain't giving it to me, so fine. You win. I just want to listen to Heaven by Taemin, so I downloaded it and I listened to Heaven by Taemin, and it was wonderful. It was a sexy good time.
Well, for people who maybe are more like YouTube side and usually listen to their music through music videos, if you do couple it with that, that's kind of how my husband started using it. It's because he watched some of the music videos with me that he liked, and then it saved that, and then it kind of built a playlist
Yeah.
for him. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
kind
what
of
it does
neat
for
how
me.
it functions like that too.
Yeah.
So if you then think, oh, maybe not visual, but maybe just audio, like that, they kind of set it up like that for you. So
It's really it's like a good thing for if you like it is overwhelming, like if you aren't used to listening to more than one type of music or like one country's music or whatever. It can be like daunting to figure out like jumping into another group of like musicians and like figuring out who you would like and what you would like. I think like services like this, like YouTube and like Spotify, and I don't know what the other like Google and iTunes might do it as well or whatever, but like it helps you kind of like narrow down because it does kind of curate it for you, that kind of initial push. So then you can kind of like get some things and you're like, oh, maybe I like this person. And then like once you start really liking that person, then it'll be like, oh, okay, so I see you like this person, so maybe because others who listen to this person listens to this, and then like it'll put it into the playlist, and it helps kind of diversify your playlist more without like the commitment of you sitting there and like having to
forcing it.
or like
Yeah.
doing something like, oh, now I have to go like look up Japanese like top 50 lists and then like just sit there and like type in everything and see if like
No.
I like any of the top 50. You don't have to do that, and that's what everything's set up so easily for you to like diversify what you're listening to that
Well, and you can just find playlists, right? Like
it helps
search for a
diversify,
playlist.
but it uses genres really well. So it's not like it doesn't go, oh, K-pop is a genre, tee-hee. I mean, it kind of does, but then it goes deeper, like, oh, within K-pop, these are the genres that you obviously like to listen to. So maybe you also like to listen to this person because they're in the same genre.
And if you're on Spotify, every year at the end of the year, they do like a really nice wrap up of all the stuff you've listened to, and they really expose you.
Yeah,
Like the fact that I listened to 48 hours of Panic at the Disco last year. But in my defense, I did fall asleep listening to like
that's the only
Panic at the Disco.
That's why Chai was at the very top of mine, because his OST song for his last show, it was just really soothing. So I would fall asleep to it for about a week. And so there's like, well, that was your top song of the year. I'm like, well, okay.
There's all those like tweets that people would do,
so.
and like it would be like they like were playing like a soundtrack, like just some random thing because they were leaving their cat at home, and they
it was like anti-anxiety music for dogs.
Yeah, that's
it was
what's
like
like
they would play it when they were at home.
You're like,
classic.
oh.
I liked that when I got mine, it had, it breaks down, like, here are your 5 most listened to genres or whatever. And it didn't just K-pop everything. It was like K-pop, K-R&B, K-hip-hop, K-indie. Like, it, and then I think it was like, and then Christian worship music or something. Like, it was like, and these English people, like weirdo.
Pop punk, K-pop, K-dance. We got you there for a second, and then it was like folk music. I was like, yeah, this is about right.
Sounds legit. Yeah.
You didn't have any of those bedroom genres on there?
No,
I
you
don't
would
know if there was
think,
like no
but no.
Korean bedroom songs or whatever.
I think you mean Taemin. Taemin. That's the only bedroom music I listen to.
Taemin, demon music, same.
Nah, he's a little sex demon.
That's what I was meaning.
So, what is everyone's like music-based resolutions? As well, they're not like resolutions. They're just things that we want to do.
No, mine is a resolution. Can I go first?
Yes.
Sure.
Me. I'm usually not pushy, but me. Okay. I totally and utterly failed at making Spotify playlists this year. I started off well. I started because I was watching a lot of music shows in January and February because that's when Astro came back, and I started seeing groups that I didn't know about, so I was forced to make playlists for January and February because in order to keep them together. So I have a January and then like half of a February playlist, and then everything died. Like, just my Spotify is such a mess. Like, it's really bad. It's worse than the tabs that I have open within my browser. Like,
those kids! Like, even just thinking about your tabs, give me. Tell you.
So, and actually, I'm saying this right now. I have not started my January playlist for this year. Like, I need to do it. So that is my resolution. I need to sort my stuff better as I go along. And I also need to do that with drama stuff too, probably. But definitely with music, because I do end up adding groups that maybe I just heard a random song, and if I don't plunk it in there, it's going to get lost. Just because I liked it doesn't mean anything.
You're going to remember it like
right
4 months later.
Especially timeline-wise, I'm not going to be able to keep track of it if I don't at least shove it into a monthly thing. Like,
yeah.
So that is my resolution. I gotta, or else, because making my yearly list was, whoo, buddy, it was
And
hard.
I will say, I like kept up for like when I actually started, like I started halfway through the year doing monthly playlists, and my end of the year stuff was a breeze. I had like a full 2019 playlist that I knew about, and like I just knew instantly, plug them in here. And then also just as like a side, like it made doing these podcasts super easy, because I literally, when I talk about my music, it's
all right there.
I'm looking at that
right
monthly
there.
playlist. I don't have to do anything else. Like, I don't have to write anything. Like, and I'd always feel bad when I could forget someone, because I'd be like, oh man, I really wanted to mention that person because I find them really cool and nobody's talking about them, but I've forgotten about them because I
put it
like
in the playlist.
didn't put it in the playlist. It was on YouTube when I was watching it, and like, playlists are good.
Yeah.
For me, I want to get more into like the K indie folk scene, because like indie folk is like when I'm not listening to K-pop dance music, like that's what I listen to. I listen to like Mumford and Sons and of Monsters and Men, and you know the type of music, like music that sounds like it's all vaguely from Scandinavia. But like having discovered Car the Garden and becoming his #1 Canadian fan. I've literally been like, every time I meet, like, I talk to, like, one of my friends who also likes the same type of music as me, I'm like, you should check out Car the Garden. You'll really love his vibe.
It's nice that he has a unique English name.
Yes, so
people
he's
could, like,
easy to find. But, like, you know, so I want to listen to more of that and more just, like, soothing stuff, because I'm a little anxious bean, and I just want to listen to soothing stuff. But I want to, like, listen to more, like, you know, indie stuff. I want to listen to more indie stuff. That's what I want. That's what we all want. The dream is alive. So if anyone out there has any indie suggestions, some Asian indie suggestions, hit me up at Soju Nights on Twitter. There's an underscore between the Soju and the Nights. Finger guns. Yeah. I want all your recommendations.
I'm going to steal it back so I can do a resolution about type of music too, rather than just about Spotify.
Please do.
So for me, I know I need to. I've been wanting to spend time to get more into rock groups. Mm-hmm. Yes, Korean. I need to spend time with Nell. Like I know that probably once I start that, I'll be.
We'll be hooked, and then we can talk about it.
Yeah. So like,
all right, I'll join you too.
So I know going more with Korean, but I really need to get into the J-rock scene because I know that I will probably really enjoy some of that. So,
I know you will. Yeah.
So I know that's probably my jam. It's interesting that I haven't spent time. It's because like October happened. We didn't talk about October, but October happened.
Oh boy, October! It did a number on us.
Took like years, guys, years.
Yeah, more ways than just the amount of stuff that came out, man. October. Yeah.
October was a rough month, okay? So we won't get into that.
So I just wanted to. So if anyone. I've probably heard about a lot of the types of groups. It's more like I need to spend time. I need to spend time. So I will need to set aside time to do that. Over to Jessie.
I guess I have like maybe 2 major goals. I definitely want to get more into K bands, like K rock bands, which is like weird that I am just now doing that because that's like my normal, like I'm a rock alternative girl. Like, so like, I don't know why we're here. And I also like primarily listen to J-rock. I don't know how like I haven't translated into doing more into the Korean side. And I think that's like something I want to do and incorporate not just like indie rock bands, but also kind of like some of the lesser known idol bands too that I haven't given enough attention to. And also it's kind of like not a music resolution, but it is. I'm trying to get better at being not so afraid on my blog to review music because I have some weird thing in my brain that like says that I can't review it or like I'm terrible at it, which is like if I look objectively at things, there's nothing there's nothing to say I can't like review music because like whatever, it's my blog and I should be able to do it. Whatever. Yeah, I literally spent decades of my life studying music. Like I can read music. So I actually have a background in music. I have that and like I listen to a lot, like especially a lot of things that people don't listen to. And so I like going forward, I want to really push myself to continue to on my blog write more about those groups and
even if you were bad at it, the only way to get good at something
that's true.
Do it and keep doing it.
It's a weird mental thing that's like blocking me. So like, you know, doing
I can
like,
understand
reviews
that.
And that with like doing like drama reviews, the only thing that's stopping me is time. But with an album, I can listen to the music the entire workday. Like it's the easiest thing for me to do. So that's kind of one of my major music goals, but it's really kind of more of like a personal blog, just doing that and just kind of keeping up with like the groups that I truly like.
For me, sort of along the lines of what Sky kind of did. I kind of have two. Like, one, as far as music types and styles, I think this past year I fell in love with Next and Wang Yibo, and Wavy was like my favorite NCT group, and I'm like, maybe I should be spending a little bit more time on the C-pop or the Mandopop or whatever it is you want to call it. So I think I need to, see where Spotify takes me. If I throw all of them in a playlist and then listen to it, where does it go from there? So I'd like to do that. I'd like to venture forth a little bit more. And my Spotify goal is to be meaner, because this year, at the end of the year, I had a list, a T-Rex 2019 list, and there was like 3,000 songs in it. And I'm like, I didn't like 3,000 songs this year. What are you talking? But it's like I went into the year, I used to have this mentality that if I didn't click the like on a song, it meant I actively hated it. It was like I would like it unless I hated it. And so then over the last month, I've been just listening to like my liked songs, and there's stuff, and I'm like, what is that? Like, I don't even know. I don't gone taking the likes off of a bunch of stuff, because I'm just like, it's not a bad song. It doesn't offend me, but like, I don't actually like it, So then
it shouldn't have been on your favorites list by any means.
Exactly. So I'm just like, okay, I need to like let myself be a little bit meaner. They don't know. The artists don't know whether I like their songs or not.
They're not sitting behind you watching.
Exactly. And
I'm gonna be honest, I like only ever like songs on accident. Like, so my liked list is just ones that I've accidentally hit the like on.
I honestly don't know what likes do. Like, are they supposed to do something algorithm right?
They put them into a playlist for you
on
Spotify. So there's
like it forces it into your algorithm so to help you.
It probably does that.
Yeah.
If on the desktop, it is a subsection. It's because like your library is made for you, recently played and liked songs. So I've used it as like a save feature essentially, because it just shoves it into liked songs. Idea.
Like, I have some likes, but it's like also I'm so diverse that like I would never go into my likes to listen to that, because
I know, 'cause mine's crazy.
It'd be like I'd be really wanting to be.
It's a mess.
All over the
Yeah,
like my likes is a mess for sure. And some of that is completely legitimate, because I mean, I'm 40-something years old and I've been listening to music for a really long time. So there's like a lot of variety in there. So like, that's legit, and I don't have a problem with that. It's the songs that I really don't remember, or sometimes I don't remember it and I'm like, ooh, this is a really good song. But like, a lot of times it's okay. Like, there's nothing about the song that offends me, but there's nothing about it that really brings me joy either. So I'm gonna Marie Kondo my list and like get rid of the things that I don't love, and just hopefully, and I'm gonna follow more. So when I hear a voice that I like, but maybe the song isn't that great, I'm gonna follow the artist so that I'll hopefully get to hear more of what they have, but like not necessarily like the song, just because I like the voice.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be more discerning, hopefully. Go forward.
I like it. I like it. So, what are all of your guys' out there listening's musical resolutions, if you have any? Let us know on our Twitter at Certified Nudists over there on Twitter.
Recommendations.
Yeah, if you hear like what we're listening to, like what we're talking about, and you like, oh shit, I know the thing they're gonna love, send like just at us, man. Tweet us that recommendation.
DM us, whatever.
Yeah. So this has been the first of 2020, the first episode, which ironically was all about 2019. Because, that's just how January works. Like, you're still accidentally writing 2019 on all of your paperwork, and you have to cross it out and put 20. That's what we're doing here. This is the final cross out of 19 to leave into 20. So you can listen to us. If you're listening to us somewhere, There's other places too. We're on Spotify. We are on Google Podcasts. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are on YouTube. We're on Podbean. And you can also listen to Stitcher. We're on Stitcher. And you can also listen to us on our website, certifiednunas.com, where we have all sorts of fun stuff. We got some merch. We got some sick merch over there. I know. What is going on? Jesse's currently wearing some as we record this. We got mugs. We got tote bags. We got all sorts of shit. You know.
And it's not just our logo. Like
we got
some wand pill stuff.
We got a wand pill design on there. Don't tell JYP. We've got all sorts of stuff. We also have a few of us have some personal shit on the go. Like Jessie has her wonderful blog, Wine and a K-Drama, and she has a YouTube channel where she started posting more, and it's gonna be some whiny shit. Not whiny as in like complainy, but whiny as in lush,
glug.
drinking the whiny stuff. I myself have recently started a personal podcast over on Anchor. I'm waiting for it to distribute out. I've made KSMR, which if you're familiar with me, you know about KSMR. It's a not safe for work.
Very not safe for work.
Nighttime podcast where I soothingly read thirst tweets over some very gentle jazz music to help you drift off to sleep.
Headphones only, not just because it's ASMR. Like,
yeah, it's not even. It's like I wouldn't even call it really ASMR. It's just sort of like late night jazz. You know, like when you're like you accidentally leave the radio on and then you wake up at like 4 a.m. and there's like jazz playing and then all right, that was blah, 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 blah. That's the vibe that I'm going for there. So that's if you go on Anchor, you can just search KSMR, you'll find me. We'll link it somewhere, I'm sure. That should hopefully soon also be on Spotify and Apple. I did all the mess. Yeah, so that is us. This is, if you want to support us, as I said before, you can go to ko-fi.com/certifiednunas and support us over there. It's good, clean fun. It's not clean. It's just good fun. Because I'm involved in it.
It's mostly clean.
It's mostly clean.
Recently, this guy's like, I am offended.
Recently, well, Sky's wanted to talk because I think, if I'm remembering correctly, recently there's a little excerpt about Sky's murderous plans that she accidentally revealed to us over the Christmas season. So, that might be up there on Coffee. You can learn all about murder, Sky.
Murder.
Yeah, you bet you didn't know we were a true crime podcast, too, huh?
That's how we get our corporate sponsorship, though.
Please. We will sell out.
If you are interested in us becoming a true crime podcast, we can make that happen.
We can talk about true crime. You know what the real crime is?
Korean crime?
That no one is sponsoring this podcast. I'm kidding. Okay, we love all y'all for listening to us. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Tumblr. Did you know Tumblr still exists? They may have deleted the dongs, but they didn't delete us, so we are still there. So you can check us out. I hope you have a fantastic week and also a fantastic energy when going in to this glorious new year we've begun of 2020. All right, everyone. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.